but yeah. And number 3, the most important one, if you're a teenager, you have no business dating a young adult who is 22, 21, 20 something, and you are 15, 16, 17. You have no business dating a man that's older than you. Dating men that are older than you or way older than you opens you up to manipulation. They will tell you this is not that bad. Hey lovelies, my name is Mugobe Elspilipadzi. If you are seeing me for the first time, welcome to the channel that loves you, the channel that cares about your lifestyle, your faith, and your wellness. I hope that you will enjoy it here and do subscribe. To all my returning subscribers, I just want to say thank you so much for the continuous support and the love. I really appreciate you guys. And to all my new subscribers, welcome to the channel that loves you. I hope that you will enjoy this journey with me and you will comment and engage. I really do appreciate your comments and engagements. I'm sure you guys have seen from the title of the video, I'm going to be talking about how I went from a Christian girly to falling pregnant at a young age as a teenager. The drama, the embarrassment, all of it. So I've been wanting to share about this for a long time, but then I just wasn't ready. And yeah, I didn't want to come here and tell you guys stuff and leave some of the things out. I really wanted to be authentic, to be real, and to be raw. As embarrassing as it is, I just wanted to just be as it is. I don't want to glamorize anything or sugarcoat anything. Secondly, I also just want to say that no matter what I say, guys, please get me right. I love my son more than anything in this world. I love my son so much. He is the biggest blessing that God has given me, and I am so proud of him. I'm proud of the fact that I kept him. I'm proud of the fact that he's here. He's such a lovely human being, and I just love him so much. So yeah, I'm going to be posting these videos in different time intervals because I want to share my journey, but I don't want to sit down and share the whole long story, right? So in bits and pieces, I'll be releasing it over a couple of weeks, right? So yeah, so today we can call this part 1 where I am talking about my pregnancy journey, right? I want to backtrack a bit and tell you guys about who I was before the pregnancy. Before the pregnancy, I was just a girl that was so bubbly, that was out there, you know. And I feel it is important that I backtrack a bit and tell you about my personality then, and so that when we do other videos and I catch you up, you guys will understand the kind of trauma that comes with teenage pregnancy and the effects it has had on my personality and my character today, right? So I'm gonna start by giving you guys a little background about me. I was born in Luitrecht and I was raised in Jadere for the first few years of my life until like grade 3. Then we moved over to Luitrecht or Makado. And yeah, that's where I spent most of my life, and that's where the pregnancy came from, right? So as a little girl, I was always into dolls. I was always into babies. I loved babies with everything in me, right? And that was just something that I was just drawn to babies. I still till today I love babies, but my love for babies has reduced a little bit, but I still love babies. I was just so into babies. I loved babysitting. I loved playing with babies. I loved playing with dolls. That was just me, right? The kind of home that I grew up in was a very Christian based home. Literally, my mom would read the Bible for us. The story about Jesus, the crucifixion of Jesus, I first heard of it at my own home with my mom preaching to us and my sisters giving their lives to Jesus. And yeah, that's how it all started. My mom got us into the spiritual stuff very early on in our lives, praying for hours was done at home, in my own home. Speaking in tongues, she used to speak in tongues, and it was so fascinating and everything. I also knew that I want to speak in tongues one day, right? So my home was very Christian based. My dad reads the Bible all the time. You ask him, where is this story? He knows where it is, because he's always in the word. So that's the kind of home that I came from. So I'm just also trying to give you my parents' kind of personalities, right? My dad is the quiet one, and my mom is like the loud one. My dad hardly has ever beaten me. My mom is the one that was beating us at home, disciplining us. So my mom is the one that's more out there. And to be honest, I want to say my parents did their best with me, with their other children. They did their best. I can't fault them and say I got pregnant because they didn't give me enough discipline or anything. I think they did their best, and I was just that wayward child. And maybe sometimes it also comes with being like the last born. I know that people think that last borns get the most attention and love and everything, but sometimes the last borns are overlooked when the parent is now focusing on the teenagers that she has in the house, that she needs to push them over. They need to go to varsity. They can easily become preoccupied with the older siblings and forget about the last one, right? Or just assume that because we did it right with the others, the last one will be fine, and they don't put as much effort and energy on that one, which can be wrong sometimes. So I think my parents did well, but yeah, I think it was just my personality. I liked things a lot, right? So when we then moved from the village Njedede to Luitrikhads Makadu. That's where my life really started. I started having friends at school, started going to this church that I really loved, and I became involved at church. I was one of those kids that were involved in anything at church. Anything church related, I am there. And we even had church group, at a prayer group at some point as teenagers, people my age really. We would pray together. We learned how to speak in tongues. We would go deep in tongues. Like, we were in the fire. We were on fire for God. I was always reading my Bible. I would pray in tongues while walking to school. I would pray in tongues washing dishes, literally doing anything. I would just be praying, right? However, the group got to a point where it fell off. Like, people were not that serious about this Christianity thing anymore, and the group started breaking apart. And I believe that's when my fall came, right? So the fall came when I started compromising and relaxing. Kids at school would be drinking, not in the school grounds, but we know that so and so drinks, and when we go out on weekends, we go to Mike's Kitchen. We like to go into Mike's Kitchen. They would be ordering alcohol, and for the longest time, guys, I was like, no, I don't want to drink, because I was against alcohol. I was against anything ungodly, you get what I mean? But then I found myself succumbing to peer pressure, and I also started drinking a bit. I remember I started with brutal fruit. I started drinking. I started dating. I was sort of dating, but my dating was innocent. It was just, I have a boyfriend, but we wouldn't do much. I didn't even have my first kiss until I think I was in like grade 10 or grade 11. I was even scared, you get what I mean? So I was really in my shell, but I was also very bubbly and outgoing, and I would talk a lot, you get what I mean? So the fall came through peer pressure. My friends were drinking. I joined drinking. One of my friends lost her virginity, and I kept it, guys. I kept it for quite a while, and I just thought, no, I'm not gonna do it until I'm ready. I didn't even think until I'm ready. I was waiting for marriage, actually. But life happened. I met this guy. He was way older than me. Now that I look back, now that I'm older, I'm like, you had no business dating that guy. You had no business being around that person. But anyways, I met this guy. He was quite older than me. And I thought it's the coolest thing ever to be picked up from school. It's the coolest thing ever that because he knows that I'm a Christian girly, he's now changing his ways, he's now coming to church. I remember when he was pursuing me, I was like, he called me when my mom was there. So I knew that my mom would pick up that this is not a godly call, right? So I was like, no, I'm from church. Yeah, you should come to church. What all right? So it sounded like I'm inviting someone to church. And for me, I was just doing that to get out of the situation, like with my mom and that phone call. Lo and behold, guys, I saw this guy on Sunday. And my friend was like, yo, you see, if he came to church, he really, really likes you. This guy is willing to change for you. All those kind of things, you know, when girls convince each other, you know. And there I was. I fell for the trap and I started entertaining the guy. Hey, guys. I started entertaining him. We started seeing each other. And then we spoke about the whole deed chat, right? And I was like, I don't want to do it. I want to wait for marriage. Then it was like, oh yeah, I get you. I'll wait for you. And stuff like that. And I believed him, guys. I was just a kid. I was just like in grade 11 or grade 12. Yeah, I think I was in grade 12. And I believed him, guys. I fell for it. I was like, okay, then it means that he's willing to wait, you know. And as time went on, he would just drop the idea, you know, I mean, do things that would entice me. And yeah, then it ended up getting there. You get what I mean? So it got to that point where now I lost it. You get what I mean? Guys, I'm speaking in codes here, okay? So please keep up. And then it got to that point where it happened. And honestly, I was very disappointed when it happened because I was drunk. Number one, I was like very drunk when it happened. And I don't know whether I was in my right mind when the whole thing happened. So I was very disappointed about that. I was also disappointed about the fact that I had let myself down on the one big thing that I always wanted to do, which is to wait for marriage, right? But I didn't know how to handle that guilt and disappointment. So in my head, I just decided, let's just go on. You know what? Let's just go on with the relationship and everything. It is what it is. And then we went on with the relationship. And then it was time for me to go to varsity, right? When it's time for me to go to varsity, I realized, okay, Mugabe, you're about to start your life. You cannot do this life thing without God. You need to go back to your roots. Go back to being the Christian girly that you were, because this life that you're living now is not who you are. And I was like, yeah, I totally agreed with myself. And when I got to varsity, that was the aim, right? Results came out. I was so happy. I'm going to UJ. I'm going to study the course that I want to do. I mean, at school I enjoyed economics so much, so I was 100% sure that I want to study economics. And the fact that UJ was offering economics and econometrics, 2 degrees in one, I was like, I am going there. I love it. I'm for it. We'll get to know what econometrics is when we get there. I was so excited, guys. I was going to varsity. My mom accompanied me to varsity, and I wasn't living in Reyes. I had found like a cottage. My sister was in UJ, so she knew this lady that has a cottage, and yeah, it was like a white family. And then I would stay in the cottage at the back. I was happy with that because I get to stay alone. So now I'm staying alone. I'm excited. I'm about to start this new life, and I am praying, God, I'm giving my life back to you. I want you to be with me. I want to do the right things now. I want to fix our relationship. And I'm already asking, where can I get a church? You know, I was like, God, I'm coming home. You know that song? I'm coming back to the heart of worship, where it's all about you. That was me, guys. I was like, God, it's gonna be all about you now. I'm coming back. Little did I know that there was a stranger brewing inside of me, a stranger forming inside of me. I didn't know that, but there I was. God, I want to give my life back to you, and whatnot and whatnot. All right, lovelies, I just forgot to add that in grade 12, my parents then became pastors, right? So they started having their own church, which is something that I was totally against. I was so, excuse me. So my parents had a church in grade 12, right? They started their own church, and I was so angry about it. I didn't want it. I didn't want to be a pastor's kid. I hated the idea. I was just so miserable in that time because I didn't want my parents to be pastors, right? So I think that's one of the things that drew me a lot towards that guy, because I also started having a lot of fights with my mom. We were fighting a lot because I was just so rebellious. My attitude has changed. I hated the whole church thing so much, and the fact that I had to go to their church. So I didn't know how to transition from the church that I was going to now becoming this child that has parents that are pastors, to now becoming a pastor's kid basically, and having to go to that church. I'm leaving a church that is nice, fully built, beautiful. We take pictures on Sundays, and I've got friends here, and now suddenly I have to go to another church and start over from dust. I hated that idea, right? So I think that's when a lot of friction between my mom and I started, because we started fighting a lot. My attitude had changed, and I just didn't know how to transition, because now I would be leaving this church where all my friends are, and I have to start all over somewhere else, and it was just not making sense. However, it got to a point where I decided, let me make it fun for myself, because I have to be here anyway, and I hate being here, but let me find something fun to do. So then I decided to become a Sunday school teacher. So I was a Sunday school teacher, and I enjoyed it. I love kids, and I love being around them, so it was so beautiful, and I would teach them so well. So in my grade 12 year, I was a Sunday school teacher at my parents' church, right? That is very important because now in first year, I find out that I'm pregnant. The same pastor's kid, like do you understand? The pastor's kid who was at church teaching the kids is now pregnant. But anyways, yeah, so I then fell pregnant, and I said I'm going to stop here, and then I'm going to talk about the lessons that I've learned just from being a hardcore Christian to falling pregnant. Let's start there, right? So I've got 3 lessons that I've learned, and I want to pass these ones on to teenagers. If you're a teenager and you're watching this, or you a young person watching this, please listen to these lessons and please try to apply them, because I think these are things that I probably did wrong that you can get right today. Okay, so first of all, listen to your parents. Teenagers, please listen to your parents. When your parents say don't be friends with this person, don't think they do not know what they're talking about, or they're just trying to mistreat you or anything like that. Your parents know what's best for you, so they can read a person's character. They're good judges of character. So if your mom can see or your dad can see that this person is bad for you, they can probably see that you will eventually succumb to peer pressure, just like I did. So listen to your parents, okay? And number 2, don't be a victim. Can you just fix this? Number 2, do not be a victim of peer pressure. I think I succumbed to peer pressure, guys, because my friends, like I said, had lost their virginities. They talk about how nice it is and stuff like that. And I really started being under pressure, because the one friend I was friends with was the boyfriend was friends with the guy I was dating, and they were doing it and we weren't. So you get what I mean? So I think I kind of succumbed to the peer pressure, and I'm not blaming anyone. I'm not blaming the friend that they said, do it. I just think, just being from the outside, maybe when they're talking about what they did, talking about what they're doing, how it was and whatever, their relationship, just looking at it, looking like it's flourishing. For me then, who's just looking from the outside, it felt like maybe I was missing out. So I'm not saying they put pressure on me per se, but maybe just by listening, then the idea started building up, right? So when your parents tell you don't be friends with certain people, please listen to them. And secondly, do not be a victim of peer pressure. What you expose yourself to is where you likely go. Where you expose yourself to, and what you expose yourself to is what you'll end up doing. I don't know whether that makes sense, but yeah. And number 3, the most important one, if you're a teenager, you have no business dating a young adult who is 22, 21, 20 something, and you are 15, 16, 17. You have no business dating a man that's older than you. Dating men that are older than you or way older than you opens you up to manipulation. They will tell you this is not that bad, this is this. They'll smooth talk you, and they will play with your mind until you give in. So you have no business being around old men or dating old men. Stay in your lane and focus on school, okay? And I would also advise that you keep yourself for marriage. Wait until you get married to engage in those activities, right? Wait until you are married, or wait until you're ready. I mean over 21, where you can make your own decisions, where you are wise enough, and where you will not be taken advantage of. Please guys, this is very important. Please keep yourselves. And number 5, be honest with your parents and your siblings. Tell the truth about what's going on in your life. Don't hide, guys. Hiding is what sort of damaged me and is what made me stay in very difficult situations when I wasn't supposed to. And I will come back to this point in later videos where I will explain to you guys what I mean when I say do not hide what's going on in your life, because you will find yourself suffering and a person mistreating you, yet you are quiet about what you're going through, right? And number 6, I'd say stay in the Lord. If you're a teenager or a young person that is into Christ, you have the right way. You are on the right path, you're on the right track. Stick to that lane. Do not move, do not shift, because society says you will look more cooler when you're doing this or that, right? So to my young adults, the lessons that I could say to you guys, I would say listen to older people, guys, and seek for advice. I cannot be 25 and also seeking for advice from another 25-year-old all the time. Sometimes you need to go to someone who is much wiser, someone who's much older than you, so that they can give you direction and tell you exactly what to do, because trust me, these people are wise. Okay? And then number 2, I'd say look at the kind of influence that you are surrounded by. What kind of influence do people in your life influence? Like, what influence do they bring? You know, do you become a better person? Do you act out of character when you're around these people? Ask yourself, what kind of influence is this? Also on social media, because I know we follow people that we like, right? There are people that you know that their influence is not good and does not stand with the standards of Christ or who you are trying to become. You have no business following that person. Just because people are talking about this person a lot and this person is always a hot topic, you don't want to miss out on anything. You will end up being influenced subconsciously without you realizing that this person is actually influencing my behavior. So don't just be after trends and news and follow people that you have no business following. Unfollow people that need to be unfollowed. Okay? And choose your path and stick to it, guys. If you've chosen to become a Christian, be a Christian and follow Christian principles. Do not be in and out, because one day you may be out and that's the day the devil catches you. Stay within the presence of God. And number 4, I said stay in the Lord. Stay in the Lord, guys. Do this thing of falling and getting up, backsliding. Stop it, guys, because sometimes you're gonna backslide, and when it's time to come back, you come back with a bigger damage or a permanent damage that cannot be fixed, right? So be careful about falling and rising. And also listen to your gut feeling. If your gut says this person is wrong, your intuition says this person is not for you, don't do it, girl. Don't do it. Leave that person alone, right? And some lessons to the parents. I'm running out of time, guys. Lessons to the parents: have uncomfortable conversations with your children. Ask them questions. Do not just assume that because my child is a Christian and they go to church and they pray in tongues that they're on the right path. They are faced with different challenges when they go to school. They are faced with new challenges that are not in the household. The household may be Christian, may be prayerful and everything, but they are met with a different culture outside, which makes it very important for you to talk to your child and understand what they're feeling and what they're going through. Be accessible. Be a parent that your child can talk to. If anything happens to them, if they get raped out there, they must be able to come back to you and say, listen, this and this happened, and you must be able to listen. You must be accessible. If a boy asks them out and suggests, let's do this, they must be able to come back and say, Mommy, I met a boy and he's suggesting this. Be accessible. And lastly, pray over your children. Just because they know the Lord and you have taught them principles doesn't mean that they'll always be able to uphold themselves to those principles. You need to pray for your children. Take them before God and say, God, Yes, my child, protect her decisions, protect her mind. We do not make right decisions on our own. If you made right decisions as a child, it was not out of your own doing, because what does a child know? But it was because of God's grace that you made the right decision. So pray over your children, love your children, and yeah, be accessible, parents. These are the lessons that I've learned from my teenage pregnancy journey thus far. I will continue on with my journey of how I felt pregnant and the whole pregnancy story in other videos, but for today, this is what I have to say, and I hope that it was helpful to someone out there. Do not succumb to peer pressure. Thank you. Alright, lovelies, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope that you did learn a few things, and I promise, guys, I'll continue with the story. It is very important that I do continue with this story. I love you loads. Please don't forget to subscribe and like. Bye.